Hello and welcome to my video all about how to knit this type of lace pattern. I'm not quite sure what the official name is. It looks a lot like herringbone rib lace, however it's not rib stitch at all, so I'm going to call it the Herringbone Eyelet-Stripe stitch. The main pattern repeat is 4 stitches long, and you knit 1 pattern repeat per eyelet stripe you want to make. So in my case, I'm going to repeat the main pattern 3 times in order to make 3 stripes. I'm also going to be adding a garter stitch border that's going to be 4 stitches wide on both sides. This means I have to add an extra 8 stitches onto my needles at the beginning of the project. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is cast on a multiple of 4 stitches, where each of the 4 stitches represents 1 stripe. I'm personally going to cast on 20 stitches, and to break that down for you, that's going to be 8 stitches to make the garter stitch border, and then 3 times 4, which is 12 stitches, and that's going to get me 3 eyelet stripes. Now, because in this example I want to add a garter stitch border, I'm now going to knit 4 rows. So that's 4 rows of knit stitch. The reason I'm adding a border is to add a bit of stability and neatness to the edge of my knitting. Okay, so once I've done those 4 rows, I'm going to move on to the 2-row pattern repeat. The first row of which I'm going to start with 4 knit stitches. I'll be adding these 4 knit stitches at the start and end of every row to form the garter stitch border. As mentioned before, this border is optional and doesn't form part of the actual lace pattern, so feel free to leave it out if you wish. Okay, so then we get on to the main part of the pattern repeat, which is 4 stitches long. The first 2 stitches are just knit stitches. You then do a yarn over. To do this, you simply take the yarn from behind the needles, through the needles to the front. You then do an SSK decrease, which stands for slip, slip, knit. So you slip 2 stitches knitwise, taking the right hand needle up through the top stitch, as if to knit, and then slipping it onto the right hand needle. And you take your left hand needle down through the front of those 2 slipped stitches, cross the needles, and then just knit those 2 stitches together. And that creates just 1 stitch from 2, making it a single decrease. And that's all there is to it. That is the pattern repeat. And you just repeat that for every eyelet stripe you want to make. So I'm going to repeat it 2 more times. So that's knit 2, yarn over, bringing the yarn from the back to the front, and then SSK. So slip 2 knitwise, and then knit those 2 slip stitches together. Knit 2, yarn over, and SSK. And to finish, I just knit 4 knit stitches for the garter stitch border. And then we're on to row 2, and again I start with 4 knit stitches for the border. And then we're on to the main 4 stitch pattern repeat, which begins with 2 purl stitches, and therefore you need to bring the yarn from the back of the needles to the front before you begin. We then do a yarn over, and to do that you take the yarn from the front of the needles, wrap it anti-clockwise around the right hand needle to the back, and then bring it through the needles to the front. So you basically just wrap the yarn fully around the right hand needle. And then to finish the pattern repeat, you need to do a P2 tog, i.e. purl 2 together. So you do exactly the same as you would in a normal purl stitch, except you take your right hand needle down through 2 stitches. Because I'm doing 3 eyelet stripes in total, I then knit this pattern repeat 2 more times. So that's purl 2, yarn over, P2 tog. And again, purl 2, yarn over and P2 tog. And to finish, I knit 4 stitches for the border. And that's the 2-row pattern completed. You then simply repeat the patterns for row 1 and 2 over and over again. And after several more rows, you'll have something that looks like this. Obviously, the finer the yarn you use, the daintier this lace will look. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.